Good morning. Another day, another dollar. Gonna haul some dry corn. It's like deja vu all over again. That'd be a good day of shelling. It's Friday, so looking for this weekend. Alec's gonna be back in town, so we're gonna have extra manpower. We've got some high yield corn that's a little further from home. Be a good opportunity when he's here to hammer down on that. So we get asked lots of questions about this fancy little contraption here. And we could make something a little more professional looking, of course. But I just don't think it'd be nearly as cool. What that does right there, we've got a fan running above where the corn drops from the dryer to feed the blowers. That fan picks up chaff and these bees' wings right here. And see, they pipe out and go to the wagon out there. We dump the wagon on a regular basis and we put it out in the field. It helps, but you still have a lot of the pink snow. But that's a good thing. It means there's lots of corn. So I'm in the 01. It's got a C15 Caterpillar engine. And you can hear a beeper. The low coolant light's on. Again. So if you fill it, it runs out the overflow. Then when it gets cold, it's down below the sensor, and you battle that up and down. It's always been that way. As soon as I got off the incline and gave her a little juice, see, it goes right off. You really do just drive and it fixes the problem. I was lying the other day when I said it doesn't. Truck, if you ever run it out of fuel, which we have several times, it's hard to get it to prime. We've burnt the starter up trying to get it to prime, and the starter's hard to get to. It's right against the frame. I mean, bad. So every time we change a filter, do any of that kind of stuff, it's all hands on deck to make sure the tank's full and everything's just right so you get it to prime. Because if it loses prime, it's hard to get it back. So that's probably the biggest complaint about the C15 engine right there for me. And everybody decided to show up to the party this morning. Much expected. It's harvest. So when we pull in, you'll see the guy in front of me has flashers on. So we want to pull up there behind him. We're following him, and we turn our flashers on. We also see he has the hand crank right there. Give this man room in between so he can run his crank, because if you're too close to the trailer, it's even harder to crank. He needs room to stand back here. These young guys with these automatic tarps, they forget about that. So I'll let you kind of see what I'm saying. So we farm this bean field across the road. Loaded this in the dark last night. And there's the ethanol plant. It's a Poet Ethanol Plant. They're the largest manufacturer, and they've just been great to deal with. Close to home and pays a little premium. Just as long as you dry your corn, it's the place to go. A little bit of a line today, but not bad. Load down dry, nose already got a little wet. Moving to a field that we've got to pull off the highway while it's dry. I'll tell you guys some stories about that today as we get in there. I better move this truck before it turns off the side. So that corn's 19 to 20. And you're going to say, well, BG, why are you drying 19 to 24? And they will accept that. We're efficient enough on the dryer math that mathematically it makes sense. So we'll let the dryer work off some of that dryer paint. Now it works out. It keeps us running. One truck running over there, and the other three working out in the field. Still move bushes all the way around, which is good. You can't backhaul being that far from home, like you were doing the other day, but still get a lot done. Green tea for the win. Last load of Poet. They close at noon today, so as soon as we're done here, we're going to head to the field. The guys have been hauling wet corn home, as we've seen, so when I come, we'll either switch around and go one less man on the job, or we'll have each semi will have a driver. Just depends on the volume and how the trucks are keeping up. Sometimes you can just hop in and out of trucks. Sometimes you need to have drivers for each one. So we've got a U-joint cross that we're going to put in. And also, taking the time to grease the Geringhoff. You have your grease fitting right there. Each row has 12 rows, 24 of those. You have some on your fold, on your hinges, and also on the hinge of your stalk stomper. Spinning up there, they'll be down here. We'll clean this debris off. We're gonna oil our chains. We've got spray lube. Taking a leaf blower to it, just to blow the loose stuff off. Def and fuel. Well, this is going to take me a minute. Not bad to get to. So we bought this Geringhoff used. It's a 2012 model, and we got it in 2020. Farm before us ran 2,000 to 2,500 acres, kind of similar range what we are a year. So it's got a lot of acres on it. The biggest improvement we've seen are these Calmer deck plates. They kind of have a bevel to them, and when the air hits, it doesn't splatter kernels. It really helps on the butt shelling. And butt shelling's where your corn is hitting this hard enough that just you're losing kernels. Well, with this little chamfer, it helps reduce that. It's worked pretty well. We also have done the knives on this, and they get adjusted where it pinches the stalk here. These are set with a feeler gauge. They're pretty tight tolerance. A little bit of a job to set them, but not impossible. Noah's getting our chains. A little spray of lube on them. Once again, we look our belts over. Bearings, we grab a few of those, just kind of look everything over. We're doing 50-hour fittings today, so every 50 hours certain fittings get greased. We're hitting those. And also we've decided to keep our stalk stompers happy since we're towards the end of the season and getting them greased. Well, we're going to be down for just a little bit while he gets that U-joint cross changed. By doing it now, he's seen it was definitely going to go out. It'll save the yokes. So it's a PTO shaft that drives the head and what they call a U-joint. you could buy just the cross in the center and replace it. And that's what we're doing. We've got a cross we're going to replace. It's just kind of a maintenance thing. We know that they get a lot of stress being a single drive, so we just tend to change them here and there. So the cross didn't want to come out, so we don't ask twice. We get the blue wrench. We do a little coaxing. It'll finally give up. Also, while we're here, we're digging the Challenger out. We're going to put it on our CaseIH high-speed disc. We've got a Speedtiller 475. It's I think a 21-foot CaseIH high-speed disc. I can't find the key. I'll be back in a minute. This is a 2013 Challenger 645D. It's tuned to the 370 horse setting. All those Saisus are just a different tune for different size. And this one's weighted. It's on 50-inch rubber, 38-inch fronts. The duals aren't on the front now, but it has a set. We use this tractor to strip till. It also pulls a 60-foot, 23-row ammonia bar. The tune allows it to run pretty much anything we have. So to me, the nicest thing on the Challengers is the CVT transmission and the Saisu engine. Now they have a pedal mode, which we can't see it here. So now whenever I hit the pedal, you can see right here on the dash, when I hit the pedal, it goes up to 18 miles per hour. And it's really nice on the grain cart. It just doesn't set up as high as the case and doesn't ride as nice. So we generally use the case, but as far as engine transmission, these are really not hard to beat. We're going to run the disc on some corn stalks. We've not tried that yet. We just got this high-speed disc. We had a 43-foot field cultivator, a 2210 John Deere. We traded it. And also a 2007 turbo till. So far, we've been really pleased with what the disc does. We've just not run it a lot. So any of these fields are getting a little rough, probably get a disc pass just to check it out. So we're going to put the front duals on. It'll help with the ride. This one has a suspended front end, but not a suspended cab. A little rougher riding. To put the front duals on, we're going to take 2 blocks here and there. I'll drive up on them. It's going to raise this up. We'll drive the forklift in, get our bolts, and they'll be back on. Not too bad. Just got to watch not to get a tire smash it, things like that. You can do these by yourself, but it's always a lot more fun when you got help, and we do right now. So Noah's going to drive up on the blocks. That's going to raise this up. So now we'll drive in with the forklift and we'll put our dual on. Using the forklift's kind of cheating. Generally hang it here. You'll get one bolt in and then grab a bar and twist until you get the other holes to line up. We have a larger hose and an inch impact that we tighten all this stuff with. There's one on, obviously before we put it on. Might want to go the right way. And have the bolt started. Restart. Stick to. Okay. Have our front duals on. Now we're going to drop a pin in this disc, hook it up. CaseIH Speedtiller 475. We just got this and only ran it just a little bit this spring. We did some tiling here. 2019, we didn't get this planted. It was prevent plant. We pattern tiled it with 3 mains. It's almost 80 acres. Well, on the ends here where the laterals are, you can feel them, you hit them, they bump. So we're going to drop that disc in the ground and see if it smooths that up a little bit. This field's nice, square, long, half-mile rows. He's getting load yields where they rate just the load on field view. He said they're like 260, 280. So it's really good over where the tile is, which we expected. Kind of nice to see that paying back. Putting that in the summer of 2019. Helps yields for sure. I ate some dust, but I got the shot. Time to go run the combine, looking forward to that. Bro's gonna set the disc up, see what we can do, probably do both. This corn was some of our earliest planted. It went through kind of a cold spell. It got wet and cold, and a lot of guys planted, and we kind of did this and kind of didn't. Seems like it worked out all right. Yields are really good. I just got in here, but I see a 227 on the monitor. That can't be bad, right? Not seeing the crazy top end. We're drier, but it holds a good solid average, and I'll take that. So we're talking about average yields. We've found that some of the most important things is not having zeros. You know, your wet holes, replanting them or fixing them along the edges where the trees are, wherever those zeros are at, pulls your yield down fast, even if there's 50 bushel in there. So I don't know. This place used to have a lot of wet holes. It doesn't now, and it makes a difference big time. So we're getting ready for a dump on the run. Grain cart's pulling up. She's going to get right underneath me and run the side of me. We're right at making it in half-mile rows, but not by much. Kind of the same scenario we've talked. There's a tile line I can feel there. We kind of bounced. This field's tile, it's every 20 to 80 feet. So we really pattern tiled all we could. There's areas that you can't get to, but tile pays. So I've not been in the machine, but I kind of use my RPMs as a gauge, and I've been watching my power gauge over here on the left. Where it shows yellow, the KW, that's at 100% engine load from my understanding, and I try to run it right there. If it gets above that and in the yellow very far, I slow down. There's a little glare. So in these half-mile rows, we have to dump all the way back. If we get to a certain point, I can just shut it off and go a ways. It's getting there now. I can kind of hear the difference in the change. So I'm not going to clean out all the way, but I'm making sure that it's close. So I'm going to kill the unload right there. And she's going to stay with me until we get to the other on up to where I start dumping again, and I have to clean all the way out on the end so we can flip around. So you see Brian in the distance, he's setting the disc up. His wife's right here in the grain cart. So we're going to start dumping again. As we get to the other end, we'll stop, we'll clean out. We always pull forward so our residue out the back end's getting spread properly. There's those tile lines, the bouncing. That disc will fix those. Looking forward to that. So my timing's off because I've not been in the machine, and I actually started dumping too soon. We actually want to get to the point where I was still full bore dumping here and then clean it out on the end, and it's actually, I needed to wait a little longer. Just pointing that out. There's little things like that that you pick up on as you run the machine, and each day is a little different. Bro over there battling the disc. I'm sure he'll get it set. It's going to take a while though. First time setting it for fall. So the grain cart had a slight delay. We're full and we're getting too full, so I've slowed. When I slow with the auger out, she knows to go on past because I can't make up the ground to get to her. So she's going on past to get turned, knowing that we're getting full. She can probably see it as well. So I hit the button, we're good. A lot of close calls, just like that, throughout the day. I won't edit that out. It happens. probably the funnest. Folding the head. It's kind of slow folding, but it beats taking it off. I got and kicked most of the debris. There's a few leaves left. We had a pile right there. So this comes down, folds up real nice. Got to settle a little more on that right side. Boom, just like that. So then we raise it up and go to road mode. So I've got my hopper unfolded. We're in the middle of the road. And it never fails, there's a car coming. The best I can do is unfold. I'm going to go in on an angle. The ditch is pretty deep. Before we had the folding head, we had to put the head on and get the machine off the side of the road over here. And then it really took a long time. But just holding this button in this amount of time, I see 30 seconds on there. That's not too bad. 45. Well, we've met our quota. She's topping the semi off. I'm dumping off. And then we got to get home and do our deal there. Call it a night. Got another field opened up. There's 39.4 acres left. It's running about 215, so 8.5 semis tomorrow, and we'll be on down the road.